Chapter 16. Despair. The young man's gaze flicked over the purple and golden badge before turning back to Yu Chi with a mocking smile. Ah, I see you bear the Cold Flame Sect's acceptance badge. They say you're the beauty of Farbright City, and the rumors are true. Yu Chi, bolstered by recognition of the badge, stood firm, declaring, "Leave the Yu Manor at once, or you'll make an enemy of the Cold Flame Sect." The Yu family elders had initially stood back, but this declaration filled them with newfound hope. Yet the young man laughed coldly, dismissing their threats. "Do you think the Cold Flame Sect scares me?" He then revealed a black badge bearing a silver skull. "This is from the Heavenly Ghost Sect," he smirked. "Your Cold Flame Sect has already been defeated and handed over jurisdiction of the prosperous nation. The entire nation is now ours." Yuchi staggered, struck by the revelation. Her heart sank, and the Yu family's remaining members felt their spirits crumble as their world shattered around them. The young man twisted the knife further, revealing that the Prime Minister, Yu Chi's father, had been executed for treason, along with his sons. The news struck Yu Chi like a bolt of lightning, and she collapsed, her acceptance badge slipping from her grasp. The family, once high in status, was now at the mercy of this cruel young man. His face flushed with sadistic joy as he relished the despair in their eyes. "Kill everyone, but leave the young mistress alive." As the black-clad figures closed in on the Yu family, the elders slunk away, avoiding confrontation. One figure offered his praise, suggesting that Yu Chi might be a valuable cultivation partner, but the young man only laughed again. Yu Chi, desperate, drew a dagger to end her life. But before she could strike, a gust of wind tore the blade from her hand, sending it clattering to the ground. The wind, fierce and unrelenting, knocked the black-suited figures off their feet. "Who dares interfere?" The young man's voice grew tense as he turned to face the source of the wind. Han Li and his group appeared from the shadows. The young man eyed Han Li warily before addressing Taoist Master White Stone. "If you value your life, stay out of this." The pressure from the young man was overwhelming, but Taoist Master White Stone, though intimidated, stepped forward. "As an elder of the Yu Manor, I cannot stand idly by. You must face the consequences of your actions." The young man's anger flared. "If you seek death, so be it." He raised his hand, sending a white bone blade shooting toward the elder. With a series of seals, ghostly projections emerged from the blade, their eerie howls filling the air as they advanced toward their prey. In the quiet courtyard, tension thickened as Taoist Master Whitestone sensed imminent danger. With a fierce cry, Yu Chi warned, "Look out, Taoist Master Whitestone." Taoist Master Red Robe perished to this very same weapon. Her voice echoed as the young man wielded a bone blade imbued with the power of a heavenly ghost. The weapon cut through the air with unnatural speed, aiming to sever both Taoist Master Whitestone and Han Li in half. With quick thinking, Whitestone released his serpentine flying sword, yet the bone blade sliced through it effortlessly, shattering his defense. Desperation flashed in Whitestone's eyes as he summoned a round azure shield, but even that was no match for the blade's ferocity, snapping apart with a resounding crack. Forced to hide behind Han Li, Whitestone could do nothing but watch as the bone blade bore down on them. Yet Han Li stood unwavering. With a swift motion, his golden light flared, and the bone blade, once unstoppable, was caught in his palm, its deadly energy fading. The young man's disbelief was palpable, for this was the heavenly ghost blade, an artifact feared by cultivators of high realms. But Han Li crushed it with a casual grip, scattering the remains as dust in the wind. The young man's rage ignited, and with a fierce roar, he unleashed a blood-powered technique, summoning a blood mist cloud of ghostly shadows. As the blood cloud surged, chilling the very air around them, Han Li remained unfazed. With a single punch, he obliterated a ghostly shadow, and chains shot from the depths of the mist to bind him. A sinister figure, a gray-robed man, emerged from the shadows, his power seemingly equal to the young man's. Together, they unleashed their most potent attacks, vicious black ghostly claws. But Han Li's golden scales flared to life, snapping the chains like brittle twigs. With another surge of power, golden fist projections erupted from him, shattering the claws and obliterating the gray-robed man in an instant. The blood cloud disintegrated, leaving the young man vulnerable, but he quickly retreated, summoning a vast black cloud. Han Li's eyes narrowed as he unleashed a sharp breath, sending a piercing white light into the cloud. A shriek rang out, and the young man fell, his life extinguished by Han Li's overwhelming might. In the aftermath, a hushed silence fell over the courtyard. The cultivators present were in awe, their respect for Han Li growing as they realized the true extent of his power. "He's a sword cultivator," one of them muttered in awe. In the blink of an eye, Han Li's shadow surged forth, slaying two core formation cultivators with ruthless precision. The courtyard was stunned into silence as the brilliance of his sword technique illuminated the air. The young man who fled now reduced to a lifeless body far beyond reach. The black-clad figures, now gripped by terror, hastily summoned their flying treasures to escape, but Han Li's presence was like a crushing force they could not withstand. The Yu family stood frozen, unable to speak, as Taoist Master Whitestone, after a pause, struck out with a golden rope, ensnaring a fleeing cultivator and dragging him back before Han Li. The bound man, trembling with fear, begged for mercy, revealing that only a handful of his sect's disciples had ventured to Farbright City. Han Li's cold eyes bore into him, the weight of his gaze pressing the cultivator to confess the truth. His sect's ruthless pursuit to eradicate the Yu family in the name of power. The cultivator, desperate, warned of the imminent wrath of his sect's elder, Qi Minghao, whose vengeance would consume all those involved in his grandnephew's death. Amidst the sorrowful cries of the Yu family survivors, Yu Qi, now steeled by grief, took charge. She vowed to lead the remnants of her family to the Cold Flame sect, offering thanks to Han Li and Taoist Master Whitestone for their aid. With resolute steps, Yu Qi turned the tide, commanding her kin to follow her into exile. As the last of the Yu family's pride crumbled, Yu Qi offered Han Li a worm essence bead, a treasure passed down through generations, hoping it would be enough to secure his aid in their flight to safety. The fate of her family now rested on the shoulders of the mysterious cultivator whose power had already reshaped their world. Chapter 19, Grandnephew of a Detransformation Cultivator. Amidst tense discourse, Han Li, a figure of stoic resolve, denied the treasure offered by Yu Qi. The worm essence beads, capable of aiding core formation cultivators in breaking through bottlenecks, held no value for him. Despite her growing desperation, Yu Qi's pleas were met with calm refusal, as Han Li, though indebted to her, remained focused on his own duties. He reassured her that protection would come in other forms for her journey to the Cold Flame sect, even in his absence. The arrival of ominous figures shattered the moment. Heads of the fleeing black-suited figures were tossed into the courtyard, signaling the terrifying fate of their enemies. Then, in a flash of white light, a woman in flowing attire descended, radiating an aura of power. It was Yu Qi's master, Yu Menghan, a figure of commanding grace, bearing a black longsword and an unmistakable presence of danger. Her arrival brought relief to the survivors, as respect flowed from Taoist Master Whitestone and the elders, recognizing her insignia. The exchange was tense, with Han Li's concealed identity stirring curiosity in the cold gaze of Yu Menghan. His untraceable aura unsettled her, yet her wariness turned to respect when she realized his power, deduced from his victory over core formation cultivators. Their conversation revealed the true nature of the threat. Qi Xuan, a deity transformation cultivator, had a grandnephew among the fallen. This knowledge sent shockwaves through the gathered cultivators, for a being of that caliber could wipe them out effortlessly. Han Li, though unperturbed, continued with quiet confidence, unconcerned by the deadly figure they had invoked. The woman's thoughts turned grim as she spoke of the inevitable response from Qi Xuan. However, she assured Yu Menghan that they had little to fear from the patriarch himself. Yet, to be cautious, they had to leave quickly, and it seemed that only Yu Menghan would accompany her to safety, leaving the survivors of the Yu family in uncertainty. Desperate, Yu Menghan begged her master for the chance to bring her family to the Cold Flame sect to escape the looming threat. The question of their future hung in the air, with hopes pinned on this final offer of salvation. Gu Yunwei's words were firm as she dismissed the idea of taking in the Yu family. "The Creek Nation awaits. It remains under our sect's protection," she said with finality. The survivors, anxious and unsure, turned their desperate gaze to Yu Menghan, their hope now resting upon her. The second young master, fearing the wrath of the heavenly ghost sect, urged Yu Menghan to act swiftly. She responded with a stern command, silencing his outburst, but beneath her calm facade, concern simmered. Gu Yunyue reassured her, explaining that the Cold Flame sect's status in the spirit domain realm ensured the Yu family's safety. As an inner disciple, Yu Menghan would be protected from the heavenly ghost sect's vengeance. With a sense of relief washing over the group, Yu Menghan thanked the elders, vowing to reward them once she ascended in cultivation. Taoist Master Whitestone, still uneasy, exchanged a glance with Han Li, who had already turned to address him with a sly smile, suggesting his presence on the journey was now expected. The elders, eager to stay in Yu Menghan's favor, quickly agreed to accompany her family. Han Li, having claimed the storage bag of Qi Minghao, showed little interest in the black-suited cultivator's belongings. Gu Yunyue, noticing his actions, approached him with a proposition to join the Cold Flame sect. With his power apparent, she offered him the prestigious position of guest elder, believing his abilities could be a valuable asset. Yu Menghan, hopeful, seconded the offer, hinting at the benefits for Lulir as well. Han Li, contemplative, turned to Lulir, who agreed to follow his lead. As Gu Yunyue presented a healing pill to Han Li, the journey's course was set. The survivors of the Yu family prepared for departure, while Han Li accepted the sharp watch pill from Gu Yunyue. With the Yu family's belongings secured, Han Li addressed Taoist Master Whitestone, giving him a task to handle through voice transmission. As preparations continued, Yu Menghan, emotional, bid farewell to her family. The group set off, their departure marked by a swift, ethereal flight to safety. Yu Menghan, her heart heavy, watched as her family faded into the night before she turned to face the road ahead. Gu Yunyue summoned a spirit ark, and the group boarded, with the air thick with the tension of the journey ahead. The ark, glowing with spiritual energy, lifted into the sky, disappearing into the distance with its passengers.